All right, guys, we are now in game number 2 of this best of 3 in the WCS EU Challenger Qualifier. Number 1 spawning in the top right position. We actually just watched him take out another Zerg, but will he be able to come back? He's currently down 0-1 in this best of 3. It is coming in for Dignitas, Tefel. And spawning in the bottom left position, looking to secure advancement in this qualifier. He wants to represent Europe in WCS. It is our pink Zerg, Userek.
Yeah, so another ZVZ. Hopefully, hopefully the last ZVZ series will definitely get a different series to cast for our next one, ladies and gentlemen. But watching Tefel play, always a good thing to be doing. He's a very methodical Zerg player. Doesn't cheese. He doesn't go for cheesy builds. He's always the one that plays it out. Even when he's behind you, he wouldn't be the guy that to go for the Roach Zergling all in as much. He would be the guy that thinks, okay, I'm behind. His lair is earlier. How am I gonna get my own Mulus count to catch up with his? He wouldn't resort to a Roach Zergling attack as much as we've seen User and other Zerg players do earlier today.
Yeah, you're completely correct. He's just been focusing so much on that macro style. And, there's that good old spawning pool, and well, there's the fast hatchery from User. So a little bit more of the same Daybreak as compared to Akalon. The maps in terms of at least rush distances, it's not really different enough that the builds should vary based on the map, I feel. But we did see Tefel go one game with that Roach, Hydra, Infestor composition. What do you think of the odds are of him pulling this out? Or do you think that being behind in this series, he's going to try to focus purely on a defensive mechanical build and get up to those Mutalisks?
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see Tefel do here. He's not going to take any risks. He's going to invest a lot in scouting. I think he feels he is the better player. And when you feel you're the better player, that's what you do. You scout very well, you read your opponent, and you play defensive and try to counter whatever he does. So that's what I'm expecting out of our green Zerg player in the top right. Our Zerg in the bottom left, though, is as unpredictable as anyone. We don't know how he plays. We don't really know who he is. So he could do anything. He could follow this up. I think his best bet would actually be to go for a huge all-in, to go for a Baneling Roach bust, to go for another timing to kill Tefel before he hits the Spire. Because when Tefel gets his Spire up and he gets his 3 bases going, he's going to be hard to stop. I think he's the better player, the mechanical better player.
Yeah, whenever you think you're mechanically superior to your opponent, it's always about getting into that macro mid-game where you can just put out more units, really. Getting in the injects a little bit faster, and just really trying to get into a situation where you're not going to lose because of a tiny bit of misinformation or anything like that. So I definitely agree with you that he will most likely pay a little bit more attention to his scouting. Userek, I gotta say though, not too sure what he's got planned. He's got 2 drones right now on his Gas Geyser Queens coming out. We're starting to get a little bit through this bracket here in this qualifier, and I have to say, it would be kind of cool though to see User manage to try to make a name for himself, taking out one of the more known players such as Tefel. Baneling Nest is coming in, and that's I don't know. That's just like the coolest thing I think about these qualifiers for WCS is all about bringing in the new names. Of course, we know lots of players that already compete in big tournaments all around the world, but this is like a big chance for some players like Userek.
It is. It's a really big chance to make a name for himself on an official stream with a lot of people watching his games being cast, so he can definitely make an impression. And if he doesn't have a team yet, this would be a way to generate a lot of exposure to get one, as User is moving out with his first group of Zerglings, attempting to maybe poke a little bit at Tefel here. Tefel doesn't have a lot of defenses up yet, and a few Zerglings stream into the main base might be able to right-click on a few drones, and that's exactly what User does. Gets 1, 2, almost get the third one. And he is going to go in to snipe the last drone, and then might be able to run his way out of here. User once again doing out some fair damage as he's getting his lair up a lot earlier than his opponent. He's going to be playing that ridiculously early Muta style that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it just reminds me again of the Akalon. The Akalon.
Are we watching the same game? Is this a replay?
I feel like we're like watching like a best of 11 here with just all this ZVZ pulling out like the same builds every other game. But you know he's going to be able to get the crazy fast Spire, and I mean we saw that didn't actually end up working out too well for the Zerg versus Tefel last time. So I do like that he's able to pick those drones off. It's always a big score when you can kill drones. He hasn't taken any damage. He's managed to kill 4 on his own. And, you know, it's the tiny things. But Tefel actually getting away with it being a little bit more greedy, though. He has 46 drones. He's not really behind. 6 are about to finish for User, but that's just going to tie things up. And a third base being halfway done for Tefel. If he can take this and hold it, he should be good. But he might actually be doing something a bit similar to the other strange game we had. Ooh, Baneling gets sniped by Userek, but he's going for a Roach Warren and an Evolution Chamber again. And an Infestation Pit.
Yeah, there it is.
It's so close to the last game. Tefel, these guys, without knowing what each other... Like, he didn't scout the fast lair. He's just doing this, and I don't know. It's just amazing the mind games that are going on. That almost every ZVZ we've had mirroring builds as different as the builds can be. This is just such an interesting series to watch.
It's really interesting from a like a macro game point of view. I mean, I've learned more about the Zerg versus Zerg macro game today. That's for sure. I mean, the most popular things. The players are all doing the same thing. So that's indeed really cool to see, as we see a few Zerglings out of User doing some damage at the third base of Tefel, able to pick up a few more drones. He's been able to kill 7 this game, which is, you know, it's definitely up there. It's a good amount. He's trying to keep the worker tab even as his first Mutalisks are on the way out. Nathaniel's, it's once again going to be close. I mean, look at the Pathogen Glands, look at the Mutas about to pop. Are the Infestors going to be out in time?
Well, I think one of the things that really helped Tefel last time dealing with this type of strategy was his really, really expert Spore Crawler positioning, because there were just so many Mutalisks thrown away, right? So this could be a really big opportunity for Userek to do some damage. There are no Spores yet. There are now a couple starting, 3 on the way for Tefel, and they're not positioned, you know, in the mineral lines. He's kind of got these kind of almost triangulating positions with them, being able to just box the Mutalisks out, using the Queens into the Spore Crawlers, and well, User is going to be moving out now towards closer to that natural, that third base. He has his own third, picking off some Overlords, and he's going to be able to snipe some Banelings. A very nice catch here for our Pink Zerg.
Yep, sniping some Banelings. That's definitely going to be helping him out here. User, he gets fungled though. That is a good fungal and a good follow-up fungal. No. This is probably going to be the end of the Mutas for User. There's not any Hydras to support them though, so these Mutas might get away. Ooh, that's lucky. Wow. That's really pivotal. Those 4 Mutas are going to be regenerating back to full health in about 2 in-game minutes, so they will be useful later on. If he would have lost all those Mutas straight off there, oh man, that would have been bad news for User.
That would have been so rough, especially considering just, you know, the Infestors will be able to recover their energy. You know, if he had 1 more fungal growth, that's lights out for those Mutas. But like you said, they just regenerate health so quickly. Already none of them in the red anymore. A couple of them back into yellow. He's going to try to pick off 2 more Banelings. There's not enough energy. Ooh, 1 new Infestor can throw a fungal, but Tefel's going to start his Hydralisk Den. He is getting his +2 missile attacks, so he's going to have a little bit more firepower. Zergling's running into that third base, not going to be able to grab anything, and Userek, I guess he's just trying to get a bit of scouting information. He's going to cause a Baneling to detonate, but not too much damage done. He is beginning to build his Roach forces outside the third, though, and he does have a tiny bit of a supply lead. We could see User go for a big push here.
Yeah, we could. He's got about 20 supply up over his opponent. He has more Roaches coming up, but Tefel, he's got Hydras coming up. He's got the Roach Hydra Infestor army that we saw him win games with on Akilon not too long ago, where as User, he's getting surrounded here by the Zerglings, losing a lot of his Roaches here. Tefel trying to make a cost-effective trade, and definitely doing that. In the meantime, though, in the main base, there are a few Roaches of User. He's spreading up his units beautifully and doing damage everywhere.
Oh, a bit of miscontrol. These Infestors getting hit. No, he's actually going to target the infested Terrans instead in the main base. You know, Tefel, he's got to keep his cool. This is a very important match. He does not want to be eliminated. Roaches running into the third base, beginning to pick off a couple of Tefel's Roaches, and now he's going to be able to get to the drones. He can't retreat to defend this. More Roaches moving in. He's going to be able to snipe the Infestors, running from the natural to the third base. Oh my goodness, almost all of the Infestors dying. Only 1 remains at that third base. Another one has come out. The Hydralisks are here to try to chew these Roaches away, but User, with a really nice supply positioning, he actually got those Mutalisks now throwing in a bit of extra damage on that part, but User really showing that he wants to get to the next round of this qualifier. But here comes the counter push from Tefel, trying to shove these units away. Yuta's not too good versus Hydralisks, but a really nice Roach Concave for User.
Yeah, but is the Roach Concave gonna be enough? It looks like Tefel should be able to thwart this with his shorter reinforcement path. I mean, most of the supply of User is caught in roaches that are currently either on the production tab or trying to make their way over to the other side of the map. So User is gonna be forced to fall back on a bit of macro here, grabbing himself another base. How are the upgrades looking though? I think Tefel has got a pretty good upgrade lead. Yes, he is about to finish up +2 range attacks, whereas User, he only has +1 attack researched.
Yeah, and now User's coming in. This is almost the worst time to attack, since now that upgrade is done for Tefel. He gets the fungal, those units are locked into position, and User, he's just trying to go with basically a mass roach brute force style, and that'll work for a little bit, but once these better units start to really accumulate, these Hydralisks with that +2 are going to chew through these roaches so fast. User is trying to get up a 4th base. Tefel may not be able to shut this down. The supply's still very, very close, but I have to say, this the tech advantage, it kind of reminds me of what we saw on the last Akalon Flats game in the previous match, where it was this Roach Hydralisk Infestor versus just Mass Roach. So User is he's going to need to mix it up at least a little bit if he wants to be able to beat this higher DPS output army. And we actually have Swarm Host coming out for Tefel. I don't know. He's making a single Swarm Host. I don't know if that's a mistake or he's got some sort of plan with this.
No, that's weird. You're definitely right. We see roaches coming in to snipe drones every now and then. Those roaches see that Swarm Host pop out, and I bet User's thinking, what? Okay, so a single Swarm Host going to be in his army composition. Of course, User doesn't know there's only one Swarm Host, but Tefel's now going to be moving out. He has the superior upgrades. He has a way better army composition. User, he's got pure Roach. He's got no supporting units, no Hydras, no Infestors. How is he going to win this?
He's going to need a great concave. He's going to need a little bit of magic on his side, too. He is moving on, trying to catch these roaches, but these units are moving in, and the fungal growth going to get everything. The Hydralisks are safely tucked behind those roaches, throwing in that DPS, and, well, with that +2 attack upgrade, that's also going to make a huge impact on this fight. User being forced back, possibly going to be forced to GG and throw in for a 1-1 match here. Tefel really does not want to give up this qualifier match. He wants to tie things up and go for a Game 3. He wants to take this back, but User deciding to go for a big Roach counterattack as he loses his 4th base here. Tefel, though, he's going to be moving in towards the natural. The Roaches are in a nice position on the top of that ramp, but the Hydralisks are stepping forward. A nice fungal growth is going to pin those Roaches in, and, well, User is going for the counter, but there are some units here. I'm not so sure how User is going to be able to get the units to actually stop this. His plan is to build 11 Spine Crawlers in his main.
That's one way to do it. He's putting all his eggs in one basket right now, and he's going for that attack. That counter attack has to win the game for him, and he's hoping that he has enough time to finish up the 11 spines. But the Roaches and the Hydras are already in the main base. They're on top of the Spine Crawlers, and I don't think many of these spines will see the light of day break for a very long time. Oh, what a horrible joke. As the Roaches for Tefel are dealing with the Roaches of User quite well, and it looks like the Spinecrawler Forest is actually going to stay alive, so he's going to have a safe base. But the supplies, Nathaniel's, he just has no units left. Yeah, it's going to be
they tell the story there, and that's GG. Tefel will be able to tie things up. He is not going to be knocked out of this qualifier.